welcome to another video with Writers Who Run and Christy. That's me. If you are just catching the replay, you can say hello, or if you're live with me, say hello. I'd love to chat. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to chat a little bit about the missing piece to revision, rejection, and publication. So, before I forget, if you have not joined the Facebook group, Writers Who Run, I highly encourage you to join us. So I just want to jump right in and let's talk about the missing piece to revision, rejection, and publication. Now, I want to give you a comparison. They say comparison is bad, but that's only if you're comparing yourself to other people or your worst to someone else's best. That's when comparison's bad. So anyways, let's talk a little bit about what kind of author do you think you might want to be? J.K. Rowling, James Patterson, Stephen King. These are all high in the industry names, right? But you know what? Let me back up a second. You know that book series by Jerry Pelota? It's a kid's book, but it's the Who Would Win series. And he pits like a tiger versus a lion, or a crocodile versus an alligator. But there's this whole series of who would win. So today I kind of propose a fun little spin on that. Who would win? J.K. Rowling or Snoopy? All right, just think about that for a minute. But here's some other high names. So we got J.K. Rowling, James Patterson, Stephen King, Rick Riordan, J.R.R. Tolkien, I think I said that right, Agatha Christie, Danielle Steele, C.S. Lewis, Sarah Moss or Mass, Colleen Hoover. Okay, these are all huge names. I know you will know at least a few of them. You don't have to know all of them. Some of them are older, most of them are newer, different genres, doesn't matter, right? These people have sales in the millions or billions. They have movie rights. They have a fandom unmatched by whatever, right? There's Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Percy Jackson. There's so many more. And even though the fandom of, say, the three I just mentioned is not going to be the same as it is for, say, Colleen Hoover, which she writes a lot of romance, but she also writes other genres too. She is the number one author at Barnes & Noble right now, at least in my store that I work at currently. So it's well, what's the missing piece to help us get to that level? What's the missing piece to help us revise our stories so that an editor will want it, so that we don't get rejections anymore and we do get published, right? So let's talk about, the who would win. We're comparing just a little bit for a second. Snoopy, okay? Let me paint you a picture. Snoopy receives a rejection letter, and it says, quote, "Dear contributor, thank you for submitting your paper. We regret that it does not suit our present needs. If it ever does, we're in trouble." So Snoopy writes back, which is actually a very amateur mistake, but it does express the sentiment of all writers seeking publication. He says, quote, "Gentlemen, regarding the recent rejection slip you sent me, I think there might have been a misunderstanding. What I really wanted was for you to publish my story and send me $50,000. Don't you realize that?" Unquote. Okay, so while rejection, Snoopy here, lots and lots of rejections, is part of the process, and each of us must accept that as part of the whole journey as being a writer, we can use rejections to become better, especially once you start getting personalized rejections. And so you've got Snoopy over here on one side, trying his best, typing away all the time, trying to get published, and then J.K. Rowling and all the rest, they're already up here. So what gives? How do you go from one to the other? So we all got to start somewhere, and writers submit queries to editors claiming to be this book is going to be the next J.K. Rowling. It's the next Harry Potter, I promise, right? Another amateur move. Don't do that. But let's remember Snoopy, okay? He actually revels in the process. And I bet that all these other authors who have already gotten published also reveled in the process. Snoopy says, I quote, "It's exciting when you've written something that you know is good," unquote. So yes, indeed, Snoopy, it is exciting when you know you've written something good, but how do you know that, right? How can we help Snoopy and ourselves reach that J.K. Rowling status? Or at the very least, a nice advance, right? With a publishing contract, right? Now, not everyone wants a huge fandom or New York Times bestselling author status or sales in the millions. I know there's a lot of authors who do want those things, but just because you want to be a published author doesn't mean you want to go super big. It's not go big or go home. It's not. Just a published book with a $10,000 advance. A lot of people would be completely satisfied with that. So here is the one question, actually there's a few questions, that you need to ask yourself as an author while you're writing your book, okay? And that question is this: what is my goal as a writer? Why do I want to be published? Is it to see your name in lights? Is it to pass on a book that is close to your heart to like friends and family, just close friends and, family, relatives, to pass on through generations? Is it because you actually want to be a career author and get paid advances for writing? Knowing your why will help you keep writing even when times get tough. And there will definitely be some tough times along the journey to publication and beyond. So once you get published, the problems don't stop. It's just a whole new set of different problems, okay? So that's the question you need to ask yourself when you're writing your book is why. You need to know your big why. Why do you want to be published? What's your goal? Okay? So that's definitely going to help you. Then next, so the next thing is the one thing that can take you from Snoopy status to J.K. Rowling status. And actually, if you want to know the difference, who would win, they both win. It's just different stages, right? They're just at different stages. So the one thing that made all the difference in my own writing journey was learning how to plot. And learning about plot and storytelling helped me learn how to revise and start new writing projects with a better foot forward, okay? And from all of that, revising and storytelling and plotting and everything else, I was actually offered a book contract. Another manuscript went to acquisitions, I got an agent, and I also won a regional writing contest, all because I learned how to plot and to tell a good story. Okay, we all get some really good ideas. Oh, that'd make a great story. But you have to be able to translate it in the written word. You have to be able to have that plot that the editors are chomping to publish, right? So, and I had a bachelor's degree in creative writing, so that didn't make a difference. What mattered was getting better at plotting. Getting better at plotting. And the number one mistake, this is the last thing, is the writers make when you're trying to get published is submitting their work too soon. And the reason why they do that is because they tend to edit and not necessarily revise. So revision and editing are actually two very different things, and they need to be done in a certain order. And the missing piece to everything is plot, okay? So today we talked about the one question you need to ask yourself while writing your book. Why? Why do you want to be published? The number one thing that can take you from Snoopy status to J.K. Rowling status is learning how to plot. You've got to learn how to plot. And the number one mistake people make when starting to submit to publishers is that revision and editing are kind of the same thing, which causes them to submit their work way too soon. Okay, so you've got to revise, you've got to polish that manuscript and make sure it has a good plot, not just pretty writing. So that's what I've got for you today. Again, if you are not yet in the Facebook group, Writers Who Run, if you're a writer and you also like to either run, walk, hike, I invite you to join us. So many of us are runners, most of us are, but there's also a very good number of walkers who just like to fitness walk, or they used to run and no longer run, or maybe they just want to start running and they haven't quite started yet. So yeah, it's a good, just like we have in writing, the same thing in our running is a different variety of stages where we're at. But those are our two passions in Writers Who Run the Group. So join us, and I will see you next time. Bye.